If you have watched 19 productivity videos this week, worked harder, stacked routines, downloaded planners and apps, and even read a few books on productivity and still hate yourself for not doing enough, this video is for you because productivity is not your problem. Your fucking obsession with it is. And in this video, I'm going to tell you 7 brutal truths about productivity that almost no one talks about that will make you never doubt your value ever again. But before we get started, if you are new to this channel, I'm Ismail Irfan and I help business owners sell high ticket offers of $5,000 to $100,000 without a huge team or burning themselves out on client delivery. Let's start here. Rule number 1 is fuck productivity. The reason you are not productive is because you are way too focused on being productive. And here's the thing, the more you try to be productive, the more you create anxiety around the act of producing. You create tension, that creates performance anxiety, that creates paralysis, and before you know, you are either watching Netflix or scrolling TikTok. It's like trying to sleep by trying to sleep. It does not work. So that's step number 1. Fuck productivity. Don't buy that book, that course, or that planner that's going to make you more productive. Simply fuck productivity. Rule number 2, fuck time. The reason we are all working more than ever and least productive than ever before is because we are more obsessed with working more hours than getting things done. The reason we are not actually productive is because we are taught to chase the clock. And chasing the clock is like chasing a ghost. You did 4 hours, could have done 6. You did 6, could have done 8. You did 8, someone on the internet says they did 10, and now you feel like trash. Here's what no one tells you. Time is a bullshit measure of productivity. You can get more done in 30 minutes of focused or inspired work than in 10 hours when you are simply not in the flow. Time does not equal output. Chasing the hours makes you more focused on duration rather than on direction and outcome. And if you want to be significantly more productive without the drugs or anxiety, work for one day without any clocks. No timers, no countdowns, just you and the work. And you will see how much of your anxiety came from the numbers and not the task itself. Before we dive into lesson 3, if you are enjoying this video so far, do not forget to like and hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Rule number 3, understand your rhythm. Most people don't burn out because they work too hard. They burn out because they pretend that they are not tired. There is a season for hustle, and then there is a season to wake the hell up and realize that your genius is not in copying someone else's 12-hour workday, but in understanding your own rhythm. The best thing I ever did in my business was to understand that I work in bursts. Sometimes it's a few hours, sometimes it's a day, and sometimes it's a week. But when I am on, I am on. And when I am off, I stop pretending that I am not. When you understand your rhythm and accept your limits and stop bullshitting yourself into believing that you can work 16 hours every single day without any consequences, it becomes your edge and not your weakness. You are more powerful if you work 3 hours a day and own those 3 hours way more than a guy who worked 6 hours and spent the rest of the day beating himself up for not doing 10 hours. Remember, it's not the hours that drain you, it's the inner war of thinking that you should be doing more. That leads us to rule number 4. Stop leaking dopamine. Most people don't have a focus problem. They have got a dopamine addiction. Their brain is absolutely cooked from scrolling, porn, TikTok, Reels, sugar, Netflix, and so on. And all of it rewires your brain to crave hits and quick rewards. And here's the part no one tells you. You have only got so much dopamine in a day before your dopamine receptors become less sensitive. And with every hit that you get from Netflix, scrolling, sugar, or porn, you spend some of that dopamine. But you need that same dopamine to sit down, focus, and chase the slow reward that comes from actually doing the work. So when you finally try to focus, your brain's like, where's the buzz? This feels hard. Let's check Instagram. And just like that, you're back in the loop. Now, that's because of two reasons. Number one, you don't have enough dopamine left by the time you sit down to do the work. And number two, you have trained your brain to chase hits and not handle effort. And then you spiral into this cycle of guilt and shame, thinking that you are lazy, but really you are just undertrained and overstimulated. You have built a brain that literally panics in silence. And the only cure for that is pain. It is to starve your brain of cheap dopamine. You need to cut the cheap sources of dopamine by either going cold turkey or overcoming them one by one. It will suck and you will feel restless like a monkey for weeks and even months. It took me 10 months to overcome them all one by one. But once you are through that phase, you are more clearer, more focused, and more confident than you ever thought you could be. And that makes you very dangerous in a world full of digital zombies. That takes us to brutal rule number 5. Upgrade your dopamine. Cutting the fake dopamine is only half the game. Now you have got to replace it or you will crash and crawl right back to your old habits in no time. And here's the best part. There are dozens of ways to raise your dopamine levels naturally without the crash, numbness, or anxiety that you get from scrolling, porn, pills, or Netflix. For example, meditation raises your baseline dopamine by 60%. Cold showers, light, and movement raise it by 100 to 200%. And unlike caffeine, scrolling, or sugar, this stuff actually lasts. But let me warn you, you are not here to become obsessed with morning routines. Don't become the guy obsessed with journaling and breath work and forgets to do the actual work. Pick one, two, or maximum three of these rituals. Keep it simple and stick to the plan. Remember, let these rituals fuel your momentum and not become another distraction. Rule number 6. Let boredom be your edge. You are not overstimulated because your brain is broken. You are overstimulated because the world has trained your brain to literally panic in silence. You have been conditioned to escape boredom like it's a threat. So every time you are bored, you reach for a screen. But here's the secret about creativity no one talks about. Boredom is the doorway to peak creativity. The more you sit in silence, the clearer you think, the deeper you create, and you finally hear your own voice. When you sit in silence, breathe, and let your nervous system relax, your body finally feels safe. And that's when your heart sends a signal to your brain whispering, it's safe to create now. So your body is now out of survival and can safely create. And that's when you easily reach your peak creativity state because now your body feels safe to not just survive, but to create. Remember that your best work will come from a state of calm and creativity and not hustle. Rule number 7, use structures and routines, but not too much. Yes, set time blocks and yes, know when you are starting and when you are stopping. Structure gives you clarity. But the moment you start worshipping your calendar like it's God, you have lost the plot. Be disciplined enough to show up, but flexible enough to listen when your gut says no, because you are not a robot. If your body is feeling off, shift to something else or stop. And if you are in flow, stretch that work block so you get more work done. Treat yourself like a human because you are one. Your structure and your calendar is there to serve you and not the other way around. Remember that productivity is not about tools, hours, or hustle. It's about honoring your rhythm and doing what matters to you without doubting yourself because someone on the internet with 3 assistants is doing more than you. That's it for today. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit like and the subscribe button. And if you want to learn how to package, position, present, and sell high ticket offers, click the link in the description to watch my free 20-minute masterclass where I teach that step by step.